To start with, let's have the first one. Stress interview. Now, how to recognize it? Well, such interviews has rapid fire questions, criticizing candidates, answers, interpreting him or her repeatedly, etc. And mind that this is done purposely. So don't panic or feel bad about it. How are you going to deal with it? The candidate who keeps himself or herself calm in a stressful situation is selected for the job. The purpose of this interview is to find out how the candidate behave in a stressful situation. That is, whether the candidate gets angry or gets confused or gets frightened or gets nervous or remains cool. These types of interviews are conducted mostly when your job profile demands it, like that of a sales. Second type, the group interview. How to recognize it? If you would have seen my video on group discussion, this group interview will be clear to you. But the only difference in group interview is that it will be 4 to 5 candidates and all of them are interviewed together. Now, how are you going to deal with it? Have knowledge of the job profile you are applying along with some current news which comes handy nowadays. Impress others in the group by appreciating their views and ideas and add on your opinion on the same lines. The purpose of this interview is to find out which candidate influences others, who clarifies issues, summarizes or speaks effectively, etc. A topic is given to the group and they are asked to discuss on it. The interviewer carefully watches the candidates to judge the behavior in the group situation. Moving on for the third type of interview. The third interview called is panel interview. Now, how to recognize it? Panel means the selection committee that is appointed for interviewing the candidate. Hence, panel interview may include 3 or 5 members. They ask questions to the candidates on different aspects. The final decision will be taken by all members collectively. How are you going to deal with this? In this type of interview, candidate had to notice very small commonsensical behavior. For example, such interviews will have 3 to 5 chairs for the candidate to choose. He or she has to choose the middle chair always. Or the candidate might be asked tea, biscuits, which preferably should be avoided even if you are tempted to take one. The fourth type of interview is phone interview. In this technologically advanced era, most screening interviews are done by phone. But phone interviews will also be used for other reasons, such as geographic obstacles, the applicant lives in another city or state. In case, phone interviews will be longer and more detailed one. Here are few tips on how to deal with phone interviews. When you will be informed in advance about the date and time of your interview, make sure you're present in the place where you get proper network and no noise so that you could focus your attention. Sometimes the interviewer will just call you without a schedule. In that case, if you are busy in any way and not comfortable, tell them to schedule it later. Trust me, it will be a wise decision. Don't be disturbed by other calls ringing on your phone right when you are about to answer. Or if your phone rings during the question which you are unable to listen, please request the interviewer to repeat it. I understand that nowadays you do multitasking, but please avoid that during the phone interview. So, no eating, no surfing the web, no messaging because it is in your mind and the interviewer is smarter than you. The next type of interview is serial interviews. In a serial interview, you meet several people throughout the day, usually back to back. One person will interview you, then pass it to the next person and so on throughout the day. Serial interviews are physically and mentally tiring because they can often take the entire day. Each time you're passed onwards, your chances of being hired improves. In such interviews, try to understand what the particular interviewer is looking in for you and highlight your skills accordingly. Don't open up initially. At the same time, express your work and all the participation that you have done at all levels. Serial interviews are typically used for senior level position, but there are exceptions. Going forward, the last type of interview is portfolio based interview. In the design, digital or communication industry, it is likely that you will be asked to take your portfolio along or show it online. Make sure all your work is up to date without too late or too much. Make sure that your images, if it in print, are big enough for the interviewer to see it properly. And always test your online portfolio on all internet browsers before turning it up.